Hey guys, I am down on the allotment today and it's an absolutely beautiful sunny day. You can see the plum blossoms are coming out. Spring is definitely almost here, but don't be fooled. I've been fooled by this before and we are not past our last frost date yet. We are 1 week away from our last frost date, which means it is taking everything in me to not plant out the things that I have growing on at home and just wait for that last week to pass, because although today is beautiful, our nighttime temperatures are still plummeting and we are sitting around 0 and down as low as -1 Celsius this week. So it's not quite time to put things out, but let's have a look at what is going on in the garden right now. For anyone that doesn't know, my name is Peggy and I'm coming into my 3rd year of growing cut flowers here on my allotment in Kanagawa Prefecture, Japan, which is just south of Tokyo in USDA Zone 9B. Thanks for checking out my channel. So it's definitely feeling more like spring. I mean, it is a crazy 22 degrees today, but this morning was 4 degrees. The swing that we get, when I say our spring is not very long, it gets hot fast. This is what I mean. We go from 4 degrees to 22 degrees Celsius in 1 day. It's madness. And I have been fooled before by putting things out too early, but I know, having looked at the next week of weather, that we are due, 28th of February is my last frost date, and we are due -1 degree at night time on the 28th. So I mean, it's pretty bang on. So I'm not gonna start putting things out yet, even though I really want to. Instead, I thought I'd give you a look around and see what you can't hold on to the tripod. We'll have a look around and see what is happening in the garden right now. Okay, so starting here in row 1, this is my ranunculus, and when this went in, it was looking really nice and lush and green. And the cold weather has really just taken a toll on it and it's not looking great now. But we have had rain for the last 3 days and it's been a lot of rain, and with the exception of today, we are due rain all the rest of this week. So I'm really hoping that by the end of this week, with the slightly warmer temperatures, with on all that rain, that these will start to look good again. And I'm feeling okay about them. I mean, they're not looking as lush as I would like, but there is plenty of new growth coming up through the centres of these, so that's great. Here, my Docus dara. Again, this was bushy and then it died back, and you can kind of see these longer bits around it are all much darker, kind of greeny, almost blue actually they go. But this bit in the middle is nice and fluffy again. And looking good. Now, it's been really windy the last couple of days as well, and I was worried that this was going to get damaged again, but I think it's still small enough that that's not such an issue anymore. And this year, maybe I'll try and stake this a little or corral it or something when it does get that little bit bigger, to try and stop it moving so much in the wind, which is what killed it last year. Next to that, I've got ponytail. I've been growing these guys, and I don't think that one's going to do anything, but this one's still greening up and looking okay. I haven't given up hope yet. And at the end here is where I made my low tunnel for my snapdragon. And I think my first job for today is to take this off. We're going down to almost 0. We're only actually going under it once this week, and my snapdragon can handle that. But we are going to have a lot of rain, and the rest of the garden right now is really nice and damp. But when I check under here, the soil's bone dry, which means that the rain isn't getting through these holes, which is what I wanted it to do. So I am going to give these guys a water. I'm going to take this off, and then hopefully the rain over the rest of this week will get these guys going really nice and strong. I mean, they're putting height on. You can see some of them are getting really tall, but I want these guys to be much bigger before they start going to flower, and because it's heating up so quickly, they're going to go to flower pretty soon. Not much has changed in my next row. This is my allium, where half of it is starting to come up again and the other half just seems to have died off by the cold snap that we had. You can see there's still little sprouts kind of coming up here, but I don't think they're going to come back for me this year, which is a bit upsetting. My orangium's starting to come back. My echinacea scabious hasn't really done much. I'm going to leave that under the frost cloth until next week and I'll take that off then. But really, not much going on here. Okay, the other end of this row has my chrysanthemum, which have already started to leaf up again, even though these ones are the end of autumn into winter blooming varieties. So I've got one that should come in October, one in November, and one in December. I do want to add more of these, but I'm trying to get the heirloom ones. These are the kind of spray type, and I would prefer to have some of the bigger, kind of fluffier heirloom ones. So I am on the hunt for them because I can't find them very easily. After that, you can see my poppy are starting to come in and bush up, and even a few of my gladiola have started to come through. But I have discovered that these are gladiola that I dug up from my garden last year and transplanted to here, and obviously some of them have started to get a bit mixed up because I definitely have at least 2 tulips in there and possibly maybe another daffodil. I'm not sure what that one is. What do you guys think? All my poppies starting to fluff up nicely, but that is definitely a tulip, as is the one next to it. And this, I'm thinking, is a daffodil. As well as that, oh look, here's more tulips. I seem to have put in quite a lot of tulips. As well as that, I have this stuff coming up at the back as well. And I'm not sure what that is. The only thing I can think is that last year I put some crocosmia in the garden, and that might be some of the crocosmia coming up. And next to that, I have lots of this little seedling. That's a weed. But these are seedlings. And again, I'm not really sure what they are. They're fluffy, which makes me think they're rudbeckia, but they're not really coming up the way rudbeckia do. They're kind of coming up bushy on this stem. So I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Rudbeckia, plant, or weed? Should I leave it? Should I pull it up? Should I wait and see what it turns into? I don't know. I don't know. Sweet pea. I mean, they're coming. They're definitely coming. And they look like they're coming bushy. They're not leggy, so that makes me think when they do come, I'll get a lot off them. But other people's sweet pea. Look at the size of them. And they've already got flowers on, and they're really pretty flowers as well. I'm telling you, they're sweet pea ninja. I don't know, every year they get their sweet peas so big while mine are teeny tiny. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know when they plant them, but these are beautiful. Okay, so then we move on to my freesia, which are looking really sad still. Again, these were so lush and green when I put them in, and the cold snap has just completely killed them off, and I don't think they're all going to come back. This back row looks like it's coming back. Pretty much all of those have started to leaf up, and maybe these ones too. And then some at the front, so you can see we're right back down to ground level, but they're definitely coming. But then this section in the middle is just sad. Now, I do also have some freesia growing in my garden at home, and one of them has actually just started to put up its first flower stem. So I'm thinking maybe these actually don't like being in the garden. I grew these in some of them in containers in my garden last year because I didn't have the allotment, and I'm thinking that I'll leave these ones in and see if they come back for me next year, but also as a backup for next spring I might put some in the containers at home again, just so that I definitely have freesia, because I really liked having those as a cut flower in the spring. So I'm hoping I'll get some off of these. I'm hoping again, because they're a bulb, they'll come back for me next year, but just in case they don't, I think one thing I've already learned this year is that I should have some as a backup somewhere else, because maybe they just don't like the growing conditions here very well. So this end section is where I have my anemone and my daffodil, and it's the only place that I have flowers. But for some reason, again, I'm guessing because of the weird weather we've had, where it was really, really warm and then it got super cold, and now it's got very hot very quickly, everything's coming through on the tiny stems. Now before, it was my daffodil on the tiny stems. You know, that is a pretty short daffodil. I thought the daffodils were bad until I came down today and noticed that I have my first anemone flower. I'm just not really sure that you could actually call it that. It's so sharp. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, is there even a stem in there? And it's not just one random one. Look, here's another one budding up already on a tiny stem. And here are more coming. There's another one that's already got a collar on it. There's another at the end that's getting a bud on it. I don't know what to do. I mean, they're looking like they're going to be really nice big flowers. They're big flower heads. It's just, what am I meant to do with that? Oh dear. Now you want to wait for an enemy to kind of come out off of the collar. They've got like a little collar on them, and you want them to come up about 2 centimeters, about an inch, before you cut them. So I'm gonna leave that there and see if it will actually get any taller. But I'm hoping that if I cut them, these are just the first ones to come. You know, an enemy, you get a lot of flowers off of one corm. So I'm hoping these are just the first ones. They're gonna come up this short, and the rest will actually get longer. But I've never seen that before. What is going on with the weather this year? Okay, so then final row is my tulips, and these have all started to come up, which is great news. They are all slightly different types, and last year there was a definite distinction in when each variety came, so I'm hoping that I'll have the same this year and they'll have a bit of a staggered bloom time on them, but they look to be coming up fine. And then I've got my dahlia in here as well, which I'm hoping aren't going to turn to mush with this spring rain, but will actually start to wake up soon and not rot. Okay, and then in the last row here, I've got my snapdragon, which are doing really well. But again, snapdragon actually will give you better, longer stems and are happier if they're a bit cold. So because this is just the last week, we're only meant to go below 0 once. These guys can handle it, so I don't think they need the frost cloth anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off as well and just leave them to have a little bit of a cold streak before this really hot weather sets in. Popped up.
They crept off. Both crept.
Can you pull the white ones? Pull them, no, really low down. No. All the way down here, hold them here. Hold it tight, and then pull. There you go. Show mommy. Yes, good job. They are flowers for this week. They smell good? Yummy? These guys are ready to go out. And these guys want planted. So with all this stuff still in my seed pod, I am desperate to get it out into the garden, but I know I just can't do it yet. And until I get this stuff out of my pod, I can't put all of these seeds, which I need to get started, in. So I just have to wait. I'm really not very good at waiting. But luckily I'm not going to go totally insane, because when I came home from the allotment just now, I found this in my post box, which is the new seed catalogue and plant catalogue from Taki Seeds. Now, it's really hard for me to find seeds in Japan, and if you are in Japan, I would really recommend checking out Taki Seeds. These have got the best selection of kind of speciality cut flowers that I've managed to find. Not sponsored by them, just genuinely it took me so long to find these guys. So I am going to go and get a cup of tea and search through this, because I still need to hunt down those heirloom chrysanthemums that I want, and I haven't got my zinnia for this year, so that's what I'm going to do. Thanks for following along this far. If you want to see how everything in the garden does, then please remember to hit the subscribe button below and follow along for the rest of the season. If you want to see what I do with my cut flowers, you can check out my Instagram, which is From the Witch's Garden, and there is a link to that below here as well. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.